Hi everybody, old Gare. We're out on Table Rock Lake today and we have a good show for you. I'm telling you, it's been a little tougher fishing this week with all that rain and high water, but still we have some great photos and great reports for you. And hopefully it'll be helpful for you for the upcoming weekend. And I tell you, we're at the last of March. Boy, April's just about here. If we can keep that rain away, we're going to have some great fishing. It's supposed to be real nice next week weather-wise. So good reports. Truman, good golly, there's a lot of big crappie being caught out there and some nice walleye caught down below the dam at the outlet. And Lake the Ozarks produced some fair crappie fishing this week. A little slower at Pomme de Terre, and they're working for them a little bit more so at Stockton, but I think that's going to turn around. All this high water, daggone, all this high water. Well, it's a crazy time, isn't it? It's a crazy, crazy time. You know, when you can't even go get your hair cut, give me a break. Can't even go to church, can't even go to Mass. This is really wild. But I tell you, with this virus, one thing we do have going for us is that we can go to the lakes. And we're so blessed here in the Ozarks, so blessed to be able to go to one of the many lakes that we report on. And we can get out on the lakes and get away from any chance of a virus, that's for sure. You know what the Missouri Conservation Department's doing? Starting today on Friday, the day we air this show, free fishing. Absolutely free fishing until, well, starts today until the middle of April. And I'm talking about trout tags, everything, absolutely free. And the Missouri Conservation Department saying, come on down, you out of state, we'll buy your fishing license as well. So it's really a great gesture for the Missouri Conservation Department. God bless you guys. So free fishing until April 15th. All right, let's get going here. We got a lot to report on, a lot of photos, and be sure to stick with us at the end of the program because Kathy and I have selected several great photos. Boy, we're getting so many photos in at what we call our fishing photo roll, and that's at the end of the program. And I want to thank all the thousands of viewers last week. I think over 15,000. God bless you. Thank you very much. That's a lot of views, and we're getting new members on our Fishing Chums group. Boy, join our group because we're having discussions, we're sharing photos, and having a lot of fun on our groups as well. All right, let's talk fishing. And the day we're recording this show is on Thursday ahead of the release day on Friday. And it's going to be in the 80s today, like 84, 85 degrees. That's crazy. Carla and I went out to Taneycomo yesterday, and boy, they were running so much water. I tell you what about Taneycomo, what I like to do this time of the year is when there's a big rain and that water's coming down to Bull Creek, coming out into the lake, well, a lot of times the trout will move up there and feed on all the goodies being washed in. So Carla and I went to Rockaway Beach and Bull Creek area, but they just weren't there yesterday. And so we fished in the mouth of Rourke Creek, had some hits, but boy, that current was so bad, it was pretty tough fishing for us. But we'll be talking a little bit more about Taneycomo here in a minute. Let's start out at Beaver Lake. The water temperature out there this morning was 52 degrees. That's not bad, getting in the 50s. And Richard Lee Rusher, he's got a great guide service, a custom adventure guide service. I want to show you a few photos while we're talking about Richard Lee and the fishing down below Beaver. It's been very good. You can see this young lady here has a nice walleye she caught a couple days ago. Look at these kids with their limit of trout. Now, for the walleye, they've been trolling flicker shads, so that's what Richard told me, and they've been using some power baits for the trout. And the fishing is very good down there right now, below the dam at Beaver. And if you'd like to trip, take the kids out, get a hold of a custom adventure the guide service out there. Richard will take good care of you. Boy, he catches a lot of fish. And out on the main lake, you know, it's high, gosh darn it, and the crappie fishing's been a little bit tougher. Some of the boys are still picking up some crappie. They picked up, look here, the boys went out and caught some stripers yesterday. How about that? Good going. And a few bass have been caught out there, but it has slowed just a little bit with all this high water. But they're still catching stripers, and the fishing down below the dam is very good, very, very good. Let's go out at the rock, Table Rock. My gosh, there's been some good bass fishing with the high water. Boy, the lake is way up, and the contributaries, the river arms and the creek arms are dirty and a lot of debris. But the guys are going out on the main lake catching some nice bass. In fact, Ron Jester was out just the other day, and he was fishing up around Shell Knob and picked up this nice bass on a rock crawler. Boy, I tell you what, wiggle warts and rock crawlers are good right now. I'm telling you, if you're going to Table Rock this upcoming weekend. Then he was out, I think, yesterday, and look at this beautiful 4-pound smallmouth bass that Ron caught. Ron Jester, good going. All right, Greg Harrison was out the other day and picked up this nice smallmouth. Good going, Greg. And Samantha Howe was out just the other day, and she was up in the Eagle Rock area pitching an electric blue plastic worm. And look at this beautiful bass that she caught. Okay, all right, for the bass fishing right now, as I mentioned, rock crawlers, wiggle warts are working, getting back into the pockets, the points, secondary points, and getting back into the pockets and working these wiggle warts and rock crawlers. This will be good for the upcoming weekend out on the main lake. Some of the river arms mostly are pretty screwed up right now. Water temperature out there was 52 degrees this morning at Table Rock. Also, they've been picking up some fish on swim baits and a few on the umbrella rig, and they've been picking up some fish by pitching jigs around some of the docks. This may work out for you around some of that new timber as well. Crappie fishing, they're picking up some crappie fishing, but all this high water has changed that a little bit slower than it was a week ago. Once in a while, looky here, they're picking up a nice walleye out at Table Rock as well, mainly up that White River arm. So might check that out for the upcoming weekend. Okay, let's go talking about Taneycomo. Carla and I were out there yesterday. It was a tough bite for us, but it was such a big flow of water. It was just really tough to fish. But some people have been getting out pitching white jigs. And I'm telling you what happened at Table Rock right now, at Taneycomo right now. A lot of water coming out over the flow, and a lot of shad coming through the dam area, and so the fish are really gorging themselves. So white jigs have been good. We might have to even go to an 1/8 ounce with all that current, and they've been picking up some fish on minnows too. But boy, get ready for a big drift. Wow. As I mentioned here a couple of weeks ago, what I've done in the past is take a couple of 5-gallon buckets, put one in the stern and the bow, and get that over and let it drag you. It will kind of slow you down. You may want to check this out and try that at Taneycomo. It will slow that drift down, that's for sure. Okay, let's go out at Truman Lake. I want to talk about my buddy Dell Colvin. Dell always catches fish. Look at these nice bass that he caught this week. And the nice thing about Bull Shoals right now is when you really catch bass, you get into them, you have a chance of catching big fish like these fish right here. And they're picking up fish on jigs. They're picking up some fish on swim baits. We've had some reports on with the windy days, overcast days, the rock crawlers and wiggle warts are working, and at times they're pitching some A-rigs as well. But boy, they're picking up some nice bass out there. Some of the lakes, look here at K-Dock the other day. This was just earlier in the week. Look at all this debris. And that's such a shame because all that high water, and I understand they cleared all that debris out away from the docks right now, but earlier in the week it was a mess. Gosh darn, Bull Shoals, they just get all the water, and it's such a shame. So hopefully that's it for the rain for a while. Okay, Bull Shoals. Okay, let's go out to Stockton. My buddy Jeff Deckert was out the other day. He had a party. He's guiding out there now, doing a great job. And McDurris boys, they were out with him, and look at these nice crappie that they caught. And I think they're usually doing some rigging out there and picking up crappie at Stockton. Good going, Jeff Deckert, my buddy out there. Yeah, looks good. And Luke Loy was out yesterday and picked up this nice bass. The bass fishing's been pretty good out at Stockton. So bass fishing, and they've been picking up some nice crappie, but they're working a little harder, working for the crappie a little bit more so than what they were a week ago. Now they've been picking up some fish in deep water still. There's two different patterns, picking up some crappie out there, and even 60, 70 feet of water down around 15 to 30 feet. And have another pattern up the upper end and some of the flats, been picking them up in 15 feet of water, 10 to 15 feet of water. So check out Stockton for the upcoming weekend. Okay, few walleye are being caught down by the dam, but nothing great. They're using some jerk baits, but they are working for the fish down on the points and secondary points and down by the dam. But it's been a little bit tough. Pomme de terre, same thing. It's been tougher than it was the last couple of weeks. They've been catching crappie there and about 15 feet of water over the brush piles. Minnows have been the best bait, more so than jigs. So you might pick yourself up some crappie at Pomme de terre, and the bass fishing's been pretty good. And they've been picking up bass on some crankbaits and slow rolling spinner baits and some jerk baits at Pomme de terre. Boy, we got a lot to talk about Truman. My golly, Truman has been red hot. And the lake's coming up. It's been a little bit tougher than it was a week ago, but boy, they're still catching fish out there the last few days. In fact, look at Martin Griffin. He was out just a couple of days ago. Look at boy, he really got into the crappie. And the crappie they're catching at Bull Shoals right now are really quality fish in about 10 feet of water. Martin Griffin, beautiful crappie. And Laura Simmons was down below the dam, down below in the outlet area. Look at this beautiful walleye Laura caught the other day. Isn't that beautiful? And also Ronnie Blackenstein caught, look at this beautiful walleye he caught. And Matthew Sumner, he caught this beautiful wiper. You like to call them wipers, the hybrids? I like to call them wipers. I was fishing with my buddy years ago, Jimmy Houston, out in Kansas, and we got into some wipers, and he said, "Oh, that's a good hybrid." And I said, "No, that's a wiper. We call them wipers in Kansas." And he said, "Only wipers I know is the windshield wipers." And he said, "Well," I said, "we'd like to call them wipers." So that's a nice fish, Matthew. Mark Huey's Guide Service, Mark Huey's Guide Service, boy, he's really been getting into the crappie. And look at this table. Once again, he's been out a couple times this week and filled that table up with his clients. A big, beautiful crappie. Absolutely gorgeous. My golly, those are nice crappie. Good going, Mark. Good going. Hey, let's go to the lake. Let's go to Lake of the Ozarks, and our buddy Chad Wiseman. Boy, had his son out the other day, and this is the photo of the week. His son Titan Wiseman got this 2.5 pound lunker. Titan, good going. Boy, that's a wall hanger for a young man, and that's absolutely a beautiful fish. I think they caught this on a jig or jig and minnow in about 18 feet of water. Beautiful crappie Titan. Good golly. Lake of the Ozarks, let's talk about Jennifer Morgan. She was out the other day and doing some spoonbill fishing, and look at this gal. Look at this beautiful 50-pound spoonbill. Woo-wee. And she's quite a fishing gal. She was out this past August, and look at this big blue cat she caught. I tell you, that cat's as big as she is. I want to show that to you. So, Lake of the Ozarks, they're catching some fish out there over the brush piles and about 15 feet of water crappie. Some people are shooting the docks. A lot of people are having a hard time with that dock fishing, but some people are picking up some crappie on the docks, shooting the docks. But they are picking up some crappie in some of the mouths of the creeks and some back of some of the pockets as well in about 15 feet of water. And that water temperature, by the way, was 48 degrees, I believe, this morning out at Lake of the Ozarks. Also, I forgot to say, Truman, it was, I think, 48 as well. Stockton, the water temperature was cooled off a little bit. I heard around 46, but I've heard conflicting reports on that. So we got Norfork Lake to wrap this thing up. Water temperature out there is a little warmer, 53 degrees, a little further south. And they've been picking up some hybrids and white bass and once in a while striper on the flats. and they've been picking up some crappie. There's some of these crappie are coming a little bit shallower right now, and they can be just off the bank at about 15 feet of water, pitching jigs, swimming jigs, or they can pick up some fish in about 30 feet of water over the brush piles as well. And once in a while they're picking up a big striper out at Norfork. Well, that's our report for the day. By golly, we got through this thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think we're going to have a good weekend, and I think there's going to be some decent weather next week. Let's keep the rain out of the way. I want to thank you very much for being with us today. Be sure for you folks watching over on YouTube to like and share, and be sure to put it up there, Kathy. Subscribe. We love our new subscribers. If you subscribe, we notify you of any new shows, and you'll never miss out on anything. And be sure to, like I said, like and share. And our folks over on Facebook, gosh, thousands of you watching every week. Be sure to join our group, our Fishing Chums group on Facebook, and because we're sharing a lot of photos, sharing information, and having a lot of fun with that. I think we're going well over 2,000 members now in our group. And if you'd like to send us any photos, well, you can go to our email us at fishingchums@gmail.com, or you can send us some photos to our groups. God bless you. Boy, like I said, it's trying times right now, but boy, we can get away from it all by getting out in one of our Ozark lakes or streams and get away from everybody and just go fishing. And I want to thank the Missouri Conservation Department once again. Free fishing up until April 15th. God bless you all. Stay safe, and we'll see you, if not on the lake this weekend, next week at this very same time. God bless you all. Roll those photos, Kathy.